Adam watched as Sarah gazed upon the openness of the sky, following his finger pointed at the smaller constellation he had originally pointed out. The fire beside them illuminated her face. Her brown eyes and soft, nearly perfect skin made it that Adam could feel his stomach twist with emotions for her, a feeling that reminded him of strung-up yarn knotted in a ball. Adam had known Sarah for years, both counselors at Riverside Camp for the last 4 years together, and most recently classmates during their course of study at Oakland College, a smaller college in Eastern Oregon. They enjoyed each other's company, and with the same course of study and similar interests, they could keep each other entertained in conversation for hours. But now Adam had one goal during their conversations: to form a stronger, more romantic relationship with her. That is why he suggested to the kids, who were around the age of 12 to 13, to go play hide and seek out in the surrounding woods, leaving himself and Sarah alone, blissfully staring at the stars above with a warm, glowing fire beside them.
What was that? Adam, did you hear that?
Sarah then asked in a panicked expression which Adam couldn't perceive since he couldn't figure the noise that Sarah had referred to. A scream then came in from the distance, presumably louder than the first one which Sarah had heard. Both of the counselors stood up, staring into the darker woods from where it had come from. They instinctively ran in, almost in sync, trying to locate the scream. They ran deeper and deeper into the woods, the fire that they once sat by becoming increasingly more discreet. After another scream, they found the source in an open patch of land. A man pounced upon one of the female campers, seemingly kissing her on the cheek. Adam yelled as intimidating as possible, standing straight up and staring at the attacker who moved his focus on him. The attacker then fled. His slender but tall figure bolted in the woods, and within 5 seconds, neither of the counselors could spot him, even with the large backpack that covered his shoulders. They moved to the camper, which Sarah called by name.
Cindy.
No response was given, with Adam seeing the pale expression on her face, blood dripping out of a small puncture hole on the side of her neck, only illuminated by the stars above them.
He's a pervert. The person you're after, he has to be. Who does that to a kid? He must have been in the woods, stalking them, and when Cindy was alone, he attacked, stabbed her with whatever he did to make her lose consciousness, and then did whatever creepy thing he wanted to do.
Adam spoke, almost losing his breath, to Dip, who sat across the wooden table inside the main cabin where they could have this meeting in private.
How is Cindy doing? Do they know what that guy did to her? Was she drugged?
Cindy will be fine. It looks like whatever that thing did was just make her lose a lot of blood fast, causing her to pass out. The tool the person used is still under review. We are thinking it is some type of tool a hospital uses, but until we have some people look at the wound, we don't know for sure.
Both of the counselors nodded, a faint, relieved expression upon hearing of Cindy's state coming over them.
What about the backpack he had on? It looked huge. It must have been heavy. Has anyone out searching the woods found any sign of it?
Adam then asked. Dip shook his head.
We have 7 local officers looking in those woods. Once they are completed, with the day they would have had 10 hours each to look for this man. I think the person that did this is gone. You scared him off.
Adam smiled. A feeling of strength and confidence must have came over him. And when he looked over to see Sarah blushing at him, that feeling only became stronger.
We are still going to stay for the night, walk a couple of the trails during dusk, and verify that this being is gone.
Dip then said, both Adam and Sarah looking happy with that sentence. We left the room, myself and Dip walking to the cabin at the end of camp, the only vacant one that is usually reserved for excess campers, now the perfect spot for 2 officers who were sent out 4 hours away from home. When I'd previously asked Dip on the car ride here, he told me that this town, Granish, doesn't see a lot of attacks on people, that it was a mostly peaceful and safe town, and the local officers wouldn't have the right experience to handle this, which is why we were sent out here to begin with. He then ended his statement adding, they would know how to help a man out of a ditch, or get a car unstuck from snow, no charge to the citizen too. We got inside the cabin, a colder air greeting us, with oak-stained walls that resembled logs, making it feel like it was a log cabin built in the early 1900s, which it probably was. I tossed my bag on the metal-framed beds, the stiff blue mattress on top not even forming to the weight of my bag.
Thank God we won't be sleeping a lot while here.
Dip said to me with a chuckle.
I am going to go talk with the other officers from here, see if they have any updates or cool stories from their time here.
I nodded, hearing the door close behind him and laying on the bed. My phone then rang and I answered.
Hey, Nick, where did you get this journal?
Colin said on the other line. I found it under a log behind a women's house. It was blank when I opened it, but when I got home that night, there was ink making that image I showed you. It also didn't leave my sight until I got home, and I didn't write it, so I don't know who wrote it down. The women also said that she never saw it, so it's all a mystery to me. I replied back.
Well, that mystery is going to get bigger. The drawing isn't made of ink.
Colin replied. How is that possible? Is it graphite from a pencil then? I asked him.
No, it appears to have been etched or burned in using a fine-point laser. We have one here in the lab. Some of the students use it to CNC or cut wood, metal, stone, and engrave images or words on them. They even have a club where they use it to make wooden coasters and sell them online to fundraise getting more equipment.
Okay, so how did it get in the book then? I am not crazy. The first page was blank when I first picked it up.
Are you sure? The equipment needed to do this is big, and it takes a while to do an image like this. It's possible that the first page was sticky with something, and that it stuck to the back of the cover.
Colin said, leading me to accept this possibility since no other way could make sense. I'm okay saying that, I replied, a little sigh laugh knowing it wouldn't be worth arguing about. I could hear Colin laugh on the other side, then asking,
Do you want me to rip the page out? That way it would be blank when I get it back to you.
I'm okay, just leave it in my room and I will be home in a few days. I said back to him.
Okay, don't get house sick,
Colin said, hanging up the phone then and presumably returning to his work.
The stars should be out in 30 minutes. I am thinking of doing a 5-mile hike that circles around the campground. For the night, the campers and counselors are going to be in the main building and are not allowed to leave unless they are accompanied with 3 buddies. Do you still have the headlamp I gave you before we left?
I reached in my bag, grabbing the headlamp and putting it in Dip's face, like a child showing his mom the artwork he made at school that day, then asked, I am surprised they are still having campers sleep here with all that happened.
Well, we had a total of 7 officers here, not including us 2, which we are staying the night in case anything happens. This makes the news less and keeps the publicity of this place in a well-being state. Too many kids come home after what happened, and this entire place might close for good.
Dip replied, now starting to walk on the trail. It was a cooler summer night, the woods lively with the hums and buzzes of bugs, the occasional mosquito landing on me, only to be swatted and killed nearly the next moment. Did any of the officers find anything? I asked Dip, trying to occupy my mind while hiking.
Well, there's a local nuclear power company. They use small samples of thorium, which is another metal like uranium that is commonly used, and are experimenting with it to see if it can somehow replace uranium. It's supposed to produce more energy for each gram, meaning the less they would have to use to have the same output. But the thing is, the byproduct of it is being stored in these barrels, and one of these barrels leaked into the water supply. A criminal and environmental investigation is ongoing for this, but recently a lot of fishermen have caught fish with these weird mutations, glowing skin, larger appearance, a tumor-like flesh growing inside. You should have seen the pictures. It was disgusting to look at.
I nodded, imagining the fish Dip described. Its appearance giving me a nauseating feeling. I kept imagining the tumor growing and pushing on the skin of the fish, then feeling my lunch inside start to come up, moving off the trail. I rested my arm against a tree, hunched over, hearing Dip in the background chuckle as he waited for me to finish. I tried to puke nothing coming up, and after a moment, it was gone. I looked back, Dip now flashing his flashlight on the other side of the trail. I stood beside him, seeing the thousands of caterpillars surround a log, nearly covering all the wood with their bodies in silk. I examined it more, recognizing the object less and less of a knocked-down log and more of a weird nest with a hole at the end. What the hell is that? I asked Dip, unsure of anything that it could be.
Beats me,
Dip responded, sounding defeated.
It's probably some animal's nest taken over by the bugs. Let's get moving. We need to complete our lap before midnight.
2 more hours passed in an uneventful walk in the woods. We then returned to the camp, passing the other campers grouped together as they walked back to their own 1900s style of log cabins to rest for the night. We reached ours a couple minutes later, taking 10 minutes to prepare for bed, now laying across the room from each other trying to fall asleep. I started to drift, being awakened by a ring from the other side of the room. Dip was now up in his bed, his phone to his ear, speaking to someone else on the line.
What do you mean they are missing? Just those items among 4 of the 6 cabins. We didn't see anything out there, and you swear none of the campers saw someone near the cabins. Do we have security cameras out to monitor them? Might be a good time to invest in some, then.
Dip then hung up the phone, looking at me, his phone illuminating his face to an aggravated expression.
Some of the campers' clothes are missing, mostly underwear. Spread among the boys and girls, whatever this thing is, it doesn't have a preference.
So what do we do? I asked Dip.
We should take another loop. The lead counselor is already calling more officers from town, so they should be here in a moment. But this thing just took them, so it should be somewhere close.
Another 5 minutes passed and we were at the start of the trail we had started at 4 hours ago. My legs were already hurting, my feet feeling like blown-up balloons against my shoes, and the weight of concrete blocks making me walk like I was in shackles. We shone our headlamps into the woods, trying to illuminate as much as we could with little help from the cloud-covered sky. A piece of blue material then caught my eye, laying in the middle of the trail. I walked over to it, examining the item, which was a small pair of boys' underwear, with small dime-sized holes cutting through like cheese. Silence followed, a quiet hum of cicada, moth, beetles, and any other bugs that could make noise playing a soft tune. We kept marching through the woods, Dip carrying the undergarments that were now in a plastic bag for evidence. I then saw the figure, 100 feet in front of me, passing the barren trail within a moment. I rushed after the creep, sprinting through the trail and then in the woods from where I had seen it. "It's our creep," I said, feeling anxious and yelling, "We are with the State Patrol. Come out with your hands up." I could feel the bushes scrape against my legs, looking ahead, illuminating the trees, trying to find the figure again before it could elude me. I could hear Dip from afar, I think yelling at me to wait but not able to clearly make it out. I then felt a push against me, first believing it was Dip who had caught up, but could feel the weight of the assaulter push me to the ground. Now I could feel the weight of the creature, a buzzing noise seemingly above my head, like the forest was attacking me. I tried to wiggle out from underneath, but unable now, trying to hit and striking, feeling the attacker's side, which felt like it was made of bristles. "What the hell?" I said out loud, the attacker now inserting a cold circular object into my neck, penetrating the skin and causing me to bleed instantly. I could now feel my body lose its blood, almost like it was draining me. 10 seconds passed where I was in complete fear, pinned by a man destined to kill me. I thought of Cindy, how scared and alone she must have felt, now feeling my head start to faint like how she would have felt. The gunpowder exploding woke me up, feeling the breeze of the bullet whoosh above my head and an arm stiffing me in the back, holding me down for a second, then feeling the weight be released. I started to control my energy, slowly looking up, around, my vision blurry but intact enough to see the trees surrounding me, my attacker out of view. I tried rolling on my back, using my arm to push me up and seeing Dip stand above my feet, looking at the sky with his gun pointed amongst the stars. He stood over me for a couple moments, himself focused on the sky instead of the attacker. "What the hell are you doing?" I asked him. "We need to catch the pervert," I then yelled at him, trying to demand him to follow my order. Dip then pulled his gun down, large beams of light coming from behind, presumably the officers who were attracted to the shot fired. "Did you not hear me?" I asked Dip, who was now knelt down, placing a medical cloth against my neck to slow the bleeding.
You didn't say anything.
Dip responded. I awoke in the hospital the next morning after being carried by the officers out of the woods and driven into town. Besides me was a middle-aged nurse who greeted me as soon as I woke up.
How's your head feeling?
She asked me, a sweet smile on her face, nearly illuminating the gold cross necklace she wore. Good, I replied. She nodded.
That's good, you lost a lot of blood. Luckily, we had some available for you to use. Do you remember last night at all?
I was in the woods. I think a man attacked me, and Dip, my partner, shot him. Then the officers came, carried me, and I woke up. The women acknowledged my statement, then asking,
You don't remember your partner's outburst at all.
"What outburst?" I asked, adding, "He shot at a man who was trying to kill me. That wasn't an outburst."
On the way back, he stopped along a trail and shot 3 shots into a nest, I think, from the way an officer described it. One that was covered in caterpillars and silk, said he was expressing his anger for what happened to you. I didn't know if it was a normal thing.
"No," I said to her. "I am as surprised as you are that he did that,"
Funny.
the nurse said, then leaving me in my room. I was released later that day, Dip picking me up, my duffel bag already packed in the back seat. "Are we going back to the camp?" The nurse said that the creep is still out there.
That creep is gone. I doubt he will ever return back to the camp.
Dip said. "How do you know?" I replied, questioning his authority to make the decision.
When a man shoots a bear and it runs off, do you think the bear ever comes back to the same place?
No, but we are not talking about a bear. We are talking about a man who has a serious messed up mindset on those campers. He needs to be found.
There's going to be officers there for the next 2 days, in the daytime and nighttime. I bet they won't find a thing.
Dip said, "How do you?"
I just know Nick, who's in charge, who's been doing this longer. Now we are headed back home, end of story.
Dip said aggressively, glaringly upset with my interrogational questions. He started the car and drove home. The 4-hour drive then felt like 10, with silence the entire way. Dip dropped me off outside my home after it was over, and I made my way upstairs, the home apparently empty of any roommates. I laid down in my bed, seeing the journal Colin had placed on the nightstand beside me while I was away. I grabbed it, examining the first page still with the devil image on it, wondering where it came from. I could then see lines coming through the paper from the other page behind it. I flipped the page over, seeing the outline of a tall figure staring back at me. A head which looked like a fly with giant circular eyes, its arm and legs filled with bristles, and the wing-shaped figure on the back of the creature.